Looks like I have a wishbone stick here on Thursday, May the 2nd. I should snap it, see if I get a wish. It's not as flooded back here. It did rain. I did get a little mowing done before it rained. I actually got to mow the rose garden. Never done that before. I've never mowed the rose garden. Usually Charles does it because he knows what he's doing. And there's a lot of little, like, there's the walkway, and then there's all the things where they have, their little circle thingies where they, they're gonna plant plants above the ground, and then there's all the little strips with tiny little strips of like dirt. I assume maybe some roses will grow out of them. Like, what are they, perennials or annuals that when it pops up once a year? Because when I lived over at the house, I always had those tulips that would pop up. It's like I didn't have to do anything; they just popped up because Ava must have planted them from Ava's Playhouse, definitely. So, but I was trying to, and it's like this tiny little path in between. It's a tiny little, it's kind of a like a breast cancer thing, kind of rose garden kind of thing. But it's just kind of crammed in between. Like, there was a building next door, and I think that was an apartment or a house, maybe, or maybe it belonged to the same people. Like, it's kind of shoved in between, like, I don't know if that's a doctor's office, if that belongs to the big church. I don't know. It was kind of just crammed in between these two little buildings, and the one guy at the one building kept like bringing out trash or whatever, and I think I might have bit off more than I was supposed to chew, because I'd never, like I said, I never mowed the rose garden before. I didn't know where it ended exactly, but I kind of went up and around the one building because I thought, oh well, maybe it just kind of it just kind of. I was going to mow the whole path or whatever, but then it's like the yard went like in front of that building, and I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm supposed to mow all of that. I think I'm just supposed to mow the rose garden. So it's kind of like I just kind of like cut a path because it was right by the two main streets, whatever. I just kind of cut a path from the side of the building, or the edge of the building, over to the sidewalk, and then just kind of mowed all of that area. But I kind of made it look bad because now some of their other grass at that building isn't mowed. So, oh well, I suppose. I didn't know what I was doing, And I mowed some of like behind the rose garden, because it's like there's kind of this area in between. Has kind of like area in between the bush and I don't know if the bush is part of the rose garden or if it belongs to the apartment or the house or whatever the other thing was on the other side, and it was like, but I don't think I killed any flowers today, so that's good. That's good. But yeah, since I was already over there anyway, because that little rose garden area is kind of over by the big Baptist church, whatever. I guess we just do them a favor and mow the rose garden for them. I guess it's kind of a park. I guess I don't know if it's like the city park or if it's like the park that belongs to the church. I don't know. But anyway, like I said, Charles usually does it, so he usually knows what he's doing and if he's supposed to mow the area in the back, and I don't know. But since, I was already over there by the community center, I was like, well, it looked like it needed to be mowed, so I just kind of mowed the area out front, in the front of the parking lot, in between like the parking lot and the main street. And that's about all I got done, other than hopefully that old lady who stopped me and asked for directions to the veterans home, I hope I didn't get her too lost. Because I had to stop and think about where I was, and I was kind of like, I'm bad. Don't ask me for directions. Like, really, Like, I don't know. I kind of figured out, because I was going to tell her to turn it at the light that was. I was like, no, wait, you have to go through that one to the second one, to the next one, by the. It's kind of by the school and the hospital, and then you go down the road by the hospital, and then at the Casey's, take a right, and then go to the next stoplight and take a left, and that should be the street that would get her out, swoop her around to the veterans home. Hopefully she made it there. I don't know. It's like I was trying to think, because I was going to look it up on my phone. At first she asked for PCA Road or whatever, and I'm like, I do not even know what that is. Like, I don't know what that is. But then she said the veterans home, and I'm like, oh, okay. I could kind of picture, like, and then I had to, like, like calibrate myself. I'm like, okay, where am I and where is it, and what is the path to get there from here? And I was like, luckily it was fairly simple. Hopefully, it made sense. But yeah, I was almost done with my mowing when she stopped me. And because I mean it kind of already started sprinkling a little bit, but by the time I was done, like getting back to the shop, because the shop the community center is up kind of on the top of the hill, and the shop is down by the park. By the time I got back to the park, or to the shop, it was pelting me pretty good. It was some pretty fat, thick drops of rain, because the drops were pretty heavy, thick, and then there was like a whole lot of them. It's like maybe sometimes there's like a dot here, but this was like whoa, it was coming down. There wasn't a whole lot of space in between the drops, I guess is what I'm trying to say, if that makes sense. This is why don't ask me for directions, because I'm like, am I really saying what I think I'm saying right now? Like, is it coming from my brain to my mouth correctly? Hopefully. I don't know. But then it was time for the other two guys. I think, were they there? Or they showed up pretty much right after that. But it was time for them to go to lunch, so I was just kind of sitting there. I was like, well, I guess if it stops raining, I can go up and maybe mow some more by the community center. But it did not stop raining. But a guy made a delivery. I could see it, because where we sit in the shop, you can see somebody coming down the stairs outside at the side of the building. And I was like, I don't recognize that guy. Who is that? And he was like, oh, I got a delivery of 4 boxes for you upstairs. And I'm kind of, oh, okay. Because, there's kind of the bottom, the shop area, and then up above is where like the office and the lunch room that I don't think anybody uses anymore is. And then there's kind of like a lot of different little storage in places where I get my shirts. They have shirts up there. The main office, the computer that you're supposed to be able to sign in on and do your hours, but I could never get signed into it, so. Figured it out on my phone. But as you come up the steps, there's a room over here to the side that, like, off to the left, that there's a door that goes out to the parking lot upstairs. So that's where he was parked, and he had 4 boxes of, I don't know, some kind of tool the towel man tailor or something like that. And Chris had mentioned something about organizing the boxes. If I'd thought about it, I could have just like filmed myself, because it's like, I was there in the shop building by myself. It's like, I could have been like, okay, well, here's the mess that I'm starting with, because it's just kind of like I kind of, because this is the way my OCD brain works. Like, there was already like 2 or 3 boxes of these tool towels that we just got 4 more of in, so I was trying to set them together. And then I was trying to set the other boxes that I saw sitting around together, or get them on the shelf. It's kind of where I just kind of started with one thing, and then I don't know if that's the room that Chris was talking about organizing the boxes, but the boxes are organized now, so a little bit better. And it's like, I kind of cleared put the tables to the side of the room, and that were just kind of out in the middle, and there was like 4 boxes of, I think it's inner tubes for the pool up there for some reason. Like, shouldn't those be at the pool? I would think. But there again, the pool's kind of up the, because it's like, I don't know, the community center, and then the pool's kind of over here, and then the shop and the park is kind of down here, off screen apparently. So it's kind of like, whoop whoop whoop, whatever. So it's like, but yeah, I'm pretty sure they were inner tubes. It's like, why do we have inner tubes here? But I found a place to set them. So, and the bench that is broken, that I think it's broken. That was supposed to be put with the others. I've never seen a bench that looks like that at any of the parks. So, I guess I haven't really been paying attention. I think it's like a Lions Club bench, and it's like multicolored. Like, I don't know if it's supposed to be rainbow colored or what. I mean, it's a neat looking bench, but I don't know if it'd be very comfortable because it's like slats. I don't know. I guess it's kind of what people, like if you're sitting on a beach chair or whatever. I mean, I guess that's a lounge chair or whatever, beach lounge chair. That's kind of plastic slats going across, whatever. But these are kind of like, I don't know. But I got that kind of pushed off to the side of the room, and so I kind of started with, trying to get the tool towel boxes together, and then it just kind of became a whole project, because I'm like, what else am I going to fucking do? It's raining out there. It's not like I can do anything out there. But there again, it's like, I got to have shit to do tomorrow. Of course, if it's not raining tomorrow, I guess I can do mowing tomorrow, maybe, up by the community center a little bit. I guess, because that shouldn't be waterlogged, maybe. It should be fairly flat and not waterlogged, maybe. I don't know. Except for the one hill. There is kind of a hill there in front, at the other side of the entrance of the parking lot to the community center. But yeah, that was what I did. I actually thought about reorganizing the videos that I do, because it's like, it's question a day. It's supposed to be the question, but then I sit here and I gab for whoever knows how long, and then it's like, well, maybe I should do the question first and then blah 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 blah. But it's like, I don't know. I guess I kind of like starting it out casual, conversational, and then get down to business. And speaking of get down to business, we have a question to answer today. So, yes. Let's find it. What do you take for granted? Can you know what you take for granted if you're taking it for granted? Because I feel like if you're taking it for granted, you're not really, like, appreciating it or whatever. What do I don't know. I feel like this question takes a deep introspectoral and inter I had the word just a second ago and now it's gone. Spilled spot remover on my dog. Now he's gone. That's a joke from, I don't know the name of the comedian, but comedian from the 90s, maybe? I don't know. What do I take for granted? I'm sure there's something. I mean, there has to be. I would think... Oh, goodness. Yawn. I mean, maybe I take my health for granted, because I've always been fairly healthy, even though, I don't take very good care of myself, I'm having potatoes today, mashed potatoes. I don't eat very well. I don't, I drink a lot of soda. I mean, I've always been fairly healthy. So, but I mean, getting up there. I'm not a spring chicken anymore, as Heidi would say. So it's like, I mean, maybe I should start eating healthier, or I mean, I feel like work is exercise sometimes, or walking to and from work, you know. I mean, I don't really do any exercise outside of that. I probably should do more. But I mean, like I said, I've always pretty much, like, I don't really get sick ever. Of course, I mean, sometimes maybe I do, and I'm just kind of like, oh, it's just allergies, I try to play that game. Though there's been a few times where I'm kind of like, okay, that was something else. I don't know, you know, that felt a little different than just allergies, which I guess I'm just kind of get used to whatever when I have them. I have decided to try Walmart brand. These were by the Claritin. Oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? So I've got 10 of them. That was the cheapest, or that was the least amount you could get. I think it was only like $4 for those. Whereas, this costs me like 21, 22, something like that. So if that works just as good, I think I can get like 60 some pills for like $8 or something, instead of, it's twice as many pills for like a hell of a lot less. If it works as good, but we shall see. Speaking of that, speaking of health and things, but it's kind of like, so I mean, I guess I just take it for granted that everything's still working okay, pretty much. I guess, I don't know for sure. I don't go get tested. I don't go do my yearly checkup, whatever, which I should do. I know I should do, but it's a lot of effort and work, and I don't know. You gotta like call and talk to people and like set up an appointment and then like actually go to that appointment. It's just so much work. It's so much work. I don't know. But and then if I'm not healthy, they're gonna tell me, well, you can't eat cheeseburgers anymore. I'm gonna be like, fuck you. I'm doing it anyway. Eat less cheeseburgers? Maybe? Compromise? No. So I don't want them to tell me I can't do something, or if I do it, it could potentially negatively affect my health. And I'm aware, but they taste good, and I like them, and I'm going to continue to eat them. So, like, I also have bacon jerky that apparently getting rid of because it's on clearance for $5. So, hell fucking yeah. So, someday, maybe soon, it may all come crashing down on me. Who knows? But, I don't know. So, I mean, I guess I kind of take my health for granted because I've always been, like I said, fairly healthy individual. Not usually sick, so. I guess I figure if something goes wrong, maybe I'll heal quickly from it, even though that's maybe not the case as, you get older and systems stop working the way that they should. I mean, my back's hurt for, like, since I started working at the Parks and Rec last year. Like, my lower back has hurt just this whole time, like, ever since. And it's like, I mean, people always, talk about their back hurts, or that's the joke as you get older, like, oh, why does my back hurt, blah blah blah. So I just figured it was my turn finally to get the hurty back, whatever. But it is what it is. I'm surviving, I suppose. So I mean, I guess, yeah, kind of my health, I guess, I take for granted that it's, everything's just going to work out the way that it should work out, So that's probably my best answer that I can come up with off the top of my head. I'm sure there's probably others. If I were to do a deep dive, deep introspective into whatever, into my life and psyche, there's probably other things that I'm taking for granted that I just maybe not. I mean, I'm taking them for granted. I don't know. I'm right? I thought that was kind of the point. I don't know. Or maybe you should do better, but you just don't, and I just don't. But anyway, so that's probably the best answer I have for you at the moment. So, I'm shitty at pop quizzes. Sorry. But other than that, I have my potatoes to eat. So, I'm going to do that, and I will see you for what I see you.